Alright, before you all start swarming to the comment section to call me a lazy bum for making the same video twice, hear me out. Almost exactly 1 year ago, I published my first video in my X vs Dragon Ball series. This video was about how far Luffy would be able to get if he were to face the Dragon Ball universe. To be honest, this video was formatted pretty horribly. It was the first episode in the series and I frankly had no idea what I was doing. I had no standard format yet after all, so it was kind of like I'm just winging it in that video. The video was also made before Gear 5 got properly introduced and I sort of kinda maybe might have forgotten Haki was even a thing in that video. I truly do feel pretty bad that one of my most viewed videos is a video I am not even that proud of making. So I wanted to set things right. So that is why I have chosen to redo my video on how far the legendary pirate himself would be able to get in the Dragon Ball universe. Now, can I promise that he will rank higher on the tier list? Honestly, I have no idea. Because at the time of writing this section of the script, I have not given that any thought about, if Luffy would be able to get further than before. But do stick around until the end of this video to find the answer to that question. So as per usual, let's start with a short reminder of what Luffy's story is in One Piece to start things off. Born on Dawn Island, Monkey D. Luffy is the son of Monkey D. Dragon and the grandson of Monkey D. Garp. Luffy was mainly raised by his grandfather and several family friends of sorts. But his true example to look towards was the pirate named Shanks. Shanks eventually, unwittingly, allowed Luffy to eat a devil fruit which gave him his iconic rubber body. After becoming a pirate and the captain of the Straw Hat crew, Luffy embarks on a long quest to find the legendary One Piece. During this quest he encounters many other pirates who become his friends, enemies and rivals. He also encounters other users of Devil Fruit who stand in the way of his ultimate goal, becoming the Pirate King and having the most freedom in the entire world. So that's basically a very short, compact summary of what One Piece and Luffy are all about. Obviously I recommend reading the manga or watching the anime to learn a lot more details about the show. It is a 1000 plus episode show that is still airing, so if you start now you might be able to finish by the end of the year, but honestly I think it is worth it because it's not one of the most popular shows for no reason. So now that we have this part finished, let's backtrack a bit to the previous video I made on this subject and address some of the skills and abilities we can expect Luffy to use in his quest for the Dragon Balls. As I stated before during the introduction of this video, I somehow completely forgot Haki was even a thing during my previous video on this subject matter. So let's go ahead and rectify that mistake. Haki is for all intents and purposes the key of One Piece. Is it exactly the same as the key we see in Dragon Ball? No, but it does share a lot of similarities. It simply fills the role of the obligatory spiritual power trope we see in nearly every shonen. Jujutsu Kaisen has curse energy, Dragon Ball has ki, Naruto has a similar energy used with ninjutsu and senjutsu, Bleach has spirit energy, etc. Pretty much every shonen anime has a trope that is kind of similar to this one, and for One Piece it manifests itself in the form of Haki. One Piece did do something more unique with it though. Similar to Hunter x Hunter, Haki presents itself in a limited amount of types. You have Observation Haki, which gives the user a sort of sixth sense regarding the world around them. A user of this type of Haki is capable of sensing the presence, emotions, strengths, and other just attributes of the people around them. The user can also sense the intentions of their opponent to some degree to anticipate and react to incoming attacks. You also have Armament Haki, which is, as the name implies, a technique to coat one's body in Haki to act as a defensive barrier which can also be used for both offense and defense. And finally you have Conqueror's Haki. The best way I can describe this type of Haki is by calling it something like mind power. Users of this type of Haki can unleash their willpower in an outward burst of force. This can even cause weaker willed opponents to just completely be overwhelmed by the user and just pass out. This is the rarest type among the three types of Haki, as only a very small amount of people are noted to be capable of using it. Every type of Haki also has various levels of proficiency. Two users of the same type of Haki could be completely different in terms of power. As far as I'm aware, Luffy has been shown to use all three types of Haki, including very advanced techniques among them. So now that we have actually discussed Haki, let's take a look at Luffy's most iconic power throughout the series, his Devil Fruit. As previously touched upon, Luffy ate a Devil Fruit which made his entire body just like rubber. This results in the user being pretty much invulnerable to normal physical attacks, since most of them will just simply bounce right back. It also allows Luffy to get a lot more range to his attacks due to him being able to stretch his punches and kicks to extreme lengths. Luffy has achieved multiple states of evolution with the use of his Devil Fruit. He has achieved Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd, Gear 4th and Gear Gear 5 throughout the series. I will go over each of them here in a brief manner because I want to spend the most time on this subject on the Gear 5 transformation instead of the previous gears, which are kind of obsolete by now. His Gear 2nd is purely a boost to power and strength. He achieves this by increasing his blood flow to allow more oxygen to reach his muscles. Visually, the only real change to this body is that we can see it visually heat up and release steam to indicate the heat he produces in his body. A fun fact, I'm fairly confident that either the Kaioken was inspired by this or this was inspired by the Kaioken. I can't remember which one came first, but they do share some very strong similarities. His Gear 3rd is another rather simple power-up. Luffy can increase and inflate his limbs to ridiculous sizes. This allows him to cover more ground with each attack. He also increases his offensive power by doing this, but it also comes with the weakness that he is slower than when he uses Gear 2nd. The classic power for speed trade-off if you would. Just think about Super Trunks versus Cell. His Gear 4th is his first real transformation, quote-unquote, in the traditional use of the term. By covering his body in armament Haki and inflating his muscles, Luffy can evolve into his Gear 4 form. This form increases his strength, speed and durability far beyond what he could achieve with both his Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd combined. What makes this form even more unique is that Luffy can alter it to match the needs of the fight. Gear 4th has 3 distinct forms which all each excel at different aspects of combat. Snake Man serves as the fastest of the 3 forms by boosting Luffy's speed at the cost of defense. This form is ideally used against fast opponents who are capable of easily dodging Luffy's attacks in his other 2 forms. Tank Man serves as the defensive wall variant of Gear 4th. In this form, Luffy gains incredible defense at the cost of speed. This form is most suited to face fast, strong opponents with lower stamina in order to last long enough to essentially win in a battle of attrition. And Bound Man serves as the kind of like hybrid form between Snake Man and Tank Man. It is more average in all of its parameters and is for all intents and purposes the default quote-unquote form of Gear 4th. But I'm sure like most of you already knew this from either watching One Piece or just watching the previous video I did, but what was not included back then was Luffy's Gear 5th. So let's talk about the One Piece fandom's self-proclaimed most iconic anime moment ever, Gear 5th. So Gear 5th is Luffy's latest evolution of his Devil Fruit and has been the talk of the anime community for, I want to say, quite some time now. I've seen many people call it the most iconic transformation ever, even just beating Goku going Super Saiyan back on planet Namek. I've also seen a comment saying that they ripped off Dragon Ball because Gear 5th is based on Sun Wukong and so was Goku, but I don't think they ripped Goku off. Honestly, it's just another form based on the same world-famous Chinese legend of the Monkey King. And on that subject, like, can we please stop competing over what anime is the most iconic or some bullshit like that for 5 minutes? Sure, if we just look at the numbers, Goku going Super Saiyan completely shits on Luffy going Gear 5th. But that's easily explained by the fact that Goku did it like 30 plus years before Luffy. Of course, Goku going Super Saiyan will be more known and more popular. This isn't rocket science, people. But it's totally fine if both of these transformations are the most iconic. For Dragon Ball fans, the Super Saiyan transformation will always be the most iconic and vice versa. The same applies to One Piece fans and Gear 5th. Literally nobody with an IQ above room temperature really gives a single shit who is more iconic. We just care about seeing cool stuff in anime, but with that little unplanned rant out of the way, let's go back to Gear 5th. While in Gear 5th, Luffy gains more power, speed, durability, and flexibility than he has ever had before. Just your basic power-ups, like this is not new, but he is also able to use the special abilities of his Gear 4th and Gear 3rd in this form. What makes this form even more unique is that Luffy can apply his rubbery nature to the area around him instead of just on himself. He can now turn the ground into rubber, he can turn the mountains into rubber, etc. This allows for a wider variety of creative combat to be employed by Luffy. He can even turn things like clouds, lightning, water, and other organic beings into his own rubbery texture. This means he can truly use the environment against his enemies. I have seen many people online say that this form of Luffy can warp reality to some degree and that's like cartoon gag-like unlimited power, but that just sounds like such immense cap to me. Like guys, I get it, it's a strong form, it's cool. He can turn a lot of stuff into rubber and shit, but he can't rewrite reality or some stuff like that. Like, come on now. But there is no doubt in my mind that he is the strongest he has ever been whilst employing his Gear 5th form. Previously, I had Luffy ranked in the Namek saga where he would lose to Frieza, which I later corrected after careful reconsideration, or I just put him in the Saiyan saga where I'd say he gets stuck on pretty much Reddit. Because after getting like community feedback and just re-evaluating my choices, I felt like I was way too lenient on him, and I feel like the Reddit fight was a more fair placement with the parameters I used. However, with my new analysis during this video and the inclusion of the previously wrongly omitted Haki and Gear 5th, I do believe that he could beat Reddit. I really do. But I do have to disappoint the people who might have thought that he would leave the Saiyan Saga tier. Whilst I do now believe that with the element of surprise and his newly obtained Gear 5 and just a pretty creative form of combat, Luffy would be able to beat Reddit, I don't believe that he would get past Nappa. He would get the ever-living life beaten out of him by Nappa and Vegeta. One Piece fans have to realize that the power scaling of Dragon Ball just does not match with the power scaling in One Piece. You might, and I really do mean might here, be able to talk me into Nappa potentially losing, but Luffy just actually stands a 0% chance against Vegeta. Even if you just go the extra mile and say that he could beat his base form, Vegeta could just go Great Ape. Like, what's Luffy going to do? Vegeta would raise the entire planet to the ground and Luffy would be powerless to stop him. So with all that said, I am going to keep Luffy in the Saiyan Saga, but with him getting past Raditz this time around. Even though the actual results did not change an awful lot, I feel a lot more comfortable with this analysis. I feel like I gave Luffy a much better and just much fairer shot during this video, but honestly that doesn't matter because what matters is what did you guys think? Did I actually give Luffy a fairer shot, or do you still think that I underestimated him or maybe overestimated him? Be sure to start a discussion in the comments down below and voice your opinions. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my videos. If you liked today's video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and leave a comment with your thoughts to help promote the channel. Work hard, study well, and eat and sleep plenty, and I will see you all again in the next video. Peace out.